Is the housing market about to crash? COVID-19 has caused problems all over the world, in many sectors, every single market you can imagine, so it's only right that the housing market also has its fair share of problems right now. So I recently moved into my very first home in the last couple of months during the midst of all of this craziness, and it prompted me to think about the housing market right now and long term, and how the impact of coronavirus is going to affect the house prices across the nation. So of course I am just one person, but this affects everybody in the country. People are losing their jobs, losing their income 80% or less, and people are struggling across the board. And as a result of that, the housing market has taken a bit of a hit already, and actually it's probably going to take a further nosedive in the next couple of years. So during an economic downturn, the housing market is one of the first sectors that people look at to see how things are panning out and to get a bit of a feel as to how things are going to be going in the next sort of 6 months to 12 months. It's a good indicator as to how things are performing on both a national and also a local scale, and see where it's affected more than others. The latest HMRC statistics stated that 46,000 people moved home within the last couple of months, myself included. And that sounds like a large number, but actually it's half of the amount of people that moved compared to this time last year. Now obviously coronavirus has had a big part to play in that, and also restrictions due to the housing market being locked down tightly. Nobody could literally exchange for a long time, so that's hampered it down quite a bit. But despite all of this, people are still moving home, the market is still accessing people are still moving house, they're getting mortgages. I got my first mortgage and moved into this place, and it is very much still a live market and it's not completely dead. But it's important not to get this housing crisis confused with 2008 and the financial crash. This, right now, is primarily due to coronavirus. People are scared, no one wants to move because of the uncertainty. Whereas in 2008, banks were lending money left, right and centre to anyone that wanted it on very low rates, and people that were taking this money couldn't necessarily always afford to repay it. Therefore, banks had large books of debt that people couldn't pay back. And the only way to get rid of this was to write that debt off. And as a result, many companies went bust. The problem was that banks relied on the housing market being stable and to increase. When you buy a property, you expect the price to remain the same or hopefully make a profit and sell it on for a bit more than you paid for it a few years down the line. And the banks are in exactly the same boat as us. If somebody can't repay their mortgage, the banks would expect to repossess the house and sell it on for the same money they put into it, or for a bit more and make some money on the side. And that wasn't happening. So fast forward 12 years to today, and what's causing the crisis now? Well, obviously coronavirus has caused problems around the world, and companies are taking measures to save themselves, and that's at the expense of us. So people are being put on furlough, myself included. I'm on 80% of what I'm usually on, which is really poor timing. I've got this house to pay for, renovations, and it's not cheap. As a result, people are taking payment holidays from things like mortgages, loans, credit cards, car leases, you name it. People are asking companies left, right and centre to give them a bit of a break and a few months off to help them out financially, which is fine, but also the companies are going to struggle and take a hit as well. So as a result, people can't repay their loans, and this means that our spending power as a nation has dramatically reduced. And this is normally an indicator of a recession. And I think a recession in 2020 is very, very likely. It's very, very highly likely to be happening in the next 6 months or a year. You know, the housing price, for everyone across the nation, is going to drop. People are losing their jobs. Our GDP as a nation is going to reduce significantly. If people can't pay for their mortgages, they're not likely to be moving house anytime soon. And this has a knock-on effect. If there's no stock on the market and there's no choice, people aren't going to be buying everything because there's nothing they want. If that happens, the stock gets static, no one's buying it, the prices will reduce. And this will snowball and carry on, and eventually the house market will just really, really slow down dramatically, and prices will reflect that. And everyone's probably going to take about 2 to 5% hit as a minimum, I would think, in the next 12 months. So what's going to happen next? Well, it's very likely that credit is going to be quite difficult to come by over the next couple of years. Rewind to 2008, and banks were very reluctant to lend to anybody, even those people that could prove they could afford the repayments. You know, the banks had their fingers burnt, and they were really, really paying heavily for lending so easily initially. So moving forward from that, they were cautious, and it was very, very difficult to get mortgages, loans, any sort of form of credit at all. But now this is a slightly different situation. This isn't caused by the banks or any sort of financial crisis. It's caused by people's reluctance to move due to the uncertainty of what's going on. There have been rumours around negative interest rates swirling about for a little while now, and if that does happen, it's going to be costing the banks to hold on to our money. So what they're going to be doing is issuing loans and credit to people at a really, really cheap rate just to get it out of their system, and then therefore we can acquire money, we can buy houses, we can move forward and purchase things to get the economy moving again. And that's great for lenders, and it's also great for borrowers. So if you're looking to buy a house, now could be a fantastic time to do that, because the rates are going to be super low and the housing prices are going to be dropping as well. If you're already in a mortgage, it might be an ideal time to look at remortgaging your property. With these super low rates available, you could drop your payments down significantly, and that would free you up some money each month, which you could do whatever you wanted with. I would probably look at looking to overpay my mortgage slightly. As a rule of thumb, I generally tend to overpay my payments around 10% every single month. So a mortgage payment of £900, you would add on 10%, which is £90, and pay £9.90. And that extra £90 isn't much of an increase, to be honest, but if you fast forward over the next sort of 20 years, that's really going to knock off a lot of time from your mortgage term. A standard 25-year mortgage could be reduced to as little as 22 years just by paying that extra £90 every month. So banks and governments are aware of what's going on, and it's very highly likely they're planning for a crash right now. And like I just mentioned, it could be a great time for you to look into buying your first home, or selling if you can and buying something else with a lower rate, or remortgaging your current property. Just ensure that you are super secure with your finances before you do anything. Clear any unwanted debt that you can get rid of, any credit cards and current loans that you may have. It may be a great time to get a loan out to clear a credit card on a lower interest rate. And if you're in the same position as me and you've just bought your first home or just moved into a new home, don't panic. The market will regain confidence as everyone becomes more secure with jobs and finances in the next 12 to 18, 24 months. When that happens, price levels of houses will start to stabilise and hopefully start to increase again. And it's also so important to remember the only prices that really matter when you're owning a home is the price you buy it for versus the price you hopefully sell it for up here. Anything in between that is completely irrelevant. The ups and downs, the peaks and troughs really have no bearing on anything you're going to be doing because you're holding onto your property for a long time. It's the same with stocks and shares, right? The buy, sell price and the sell price are the only two you're really bothered about. The fluctuations in between, you just need to turn a blind eye to really, because actually it makes no difference to what you're going to do long term. So just remember, we will get through this. The housing prices will stabilise, they should start to increase, but I am anticipating a drop of around, like I said, 2 to 5% over the next 12 to 24 months, just as the market gains a bit of insecurity. And really, just don't worry too much, just focus on what you want to do, have your same goals set, and just be cautious. If you're looking to buy a home, like I said, it could be a fantastic time. Rates are cheap, the house prices are going to drop. If you're already in a property, you're looking to sell, if you can sell it, great. If you can't, maybe just hold on to it a bit longer and ride the wave. It will come through to fruition, it will go full circle, and we'll be back where we started. So thank you for watching another video today at Michael's Money School. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to give me a comment for any feedback or any suggestions for future videos, I would love to hear from you. Also, don't forget to subscribe and to hit the little bell to get any notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos.